In this tutorial, I will be introducing you to the Divi theme. What makes Divi so special is that it's powered by the Divi Builder, a drag-and-drop WordPress page builder that replaces the standard WordPress post editor and allows you to build beautiful designs and diverse layouts more quickly and more easily than you ever have before. Now, what you're looking at here is a very basic layout built with Divi. Everything built with Divi is comprised of sections, rows, and modules. Sections are your largest organizational element. They house various rows of columns, and inside of each row are modules. So, looking at this page, we have a single section, this big white bar here, and inside that section, we have a row comprised of two columns. Inside of one column here on the right, we have an image module, and inside this column on the left, we have a text module. And Divi comes with dozens of different modules that you can place inside of these different row types. And rows can be made to have different numbers of columns. So let's move into the Divi Builder and see what this looks like within the Builder interface. So I'm going to head over to the Divi Builder, and as you can see, we have the section here. That's the blue element. And inside that section, we have the row. As I said, this is a two-column row. And inside the first column, we have a text module. And inside the second column, we have an image module. And any number of modules can be added inside of a column, and any number of rows can be added inside of a section, and any number of sections can be added to a page. Also, elements can be moved within the page. So if I wanted to switch the position of this text module to be on the right and the image to be on the left, I could do that just by dragging and dropping. And if I update the page and take a look at the front end, you'll see that those two elements have switched inside of that row. Now let's add a new row to this page to show you how that works. I'm going to click Add Row to add a new row to my section. And then I'm going to get a pop-up box here with a bunch of different column layouts to choose from. I can do just a one-column full-width row. I can do a one-half row, a three-column, four-column, and a bunch of different variations in between. So in this case, I'm going to do a one-third, one-third, one-third row and add that. So you can see a new row has been added below my first row, and I have a bunch of empty columns here. Then I need to add modules to those columns, just like I have in the first row. And if I click any of the Insert Module buttons here, I'm going to get a new pop-up with a list of all the different modules that Divi comes with. And there's countless modules here, and you can do so much with each of these modules in combination on your page. And I don't want to go over every single module right now. In fact, we have an individual tutorial that goes over each of these modules in depth. And so I recommend that you head back to the Divi documentation page when you're done listening to this overview and dig deep into the different tutorials we have there to really learn about each of these modules, if any of them are giving you any trouble. So in this case, I'm going to add some more images, just like I have on my page already. So I'm going to click on the image module. And once you click on any module, you're going to get the module settings. All module settings are comprised of three tabs: the general settings, the advanced design settings, and the custom CSS settings. As a general philosophy, everything you need to create a great page using standard Divi modules is right here in the general settings. And if you ever want to explore outside of those settings because you want additional control over the look and feel of that module, then you can venture into the advanced design settings. And if you happen to be a web developer and you know how to code CSS, then you can delve even further into the custom CSS tab. And here we have broken down each of the elements within the module, and you can just type in custom CSS right here. But for now, we're just going to be focusing on the general settings. And like I said, there's no need to go into these different tabs unless you really want additional control. And that's why we've separated them, to keep the general settings simple and to the point. And if you want more information about the general settings and custom CSS settings, we have tutorials that go over those specifically. So I would recommend you check those out as well. Now, when you look at the general settings, you're going to see various settings, and these settings are going to be different for each module that you add to your page. In this case, we're adding an image module, and so I have only a few settings here, and they relate to images. The first being the option to upload an image, and so I'm going to do that first. I'm going to click the Upload Image button and upload an image from my library. And then moving down here, you can also do things like add your alt text, give the image a title. You can choose to have this image open in a lightbox, which I will do. And you can also choose the intro animation. So by default, when you scroll down the page, this image will load in with a specific animation. You can choose that. And you can choose the alignment. And you can also choose an admin label. And this is what appears within the builder when you're looking at the module. So right now it just says image, but if you have a pretty big page going and you want to remember what each of these modules are more easily, you can input a title here. So I'll just say profile pic and save. As you can see, my profile pic image module has been added to the first column in the row. And let's do the same thing for these other columns. I'm going to add an image to each of those. Okay, so I've added a new 3-column row, and in each of the 3 columns I've added a new image. And so if I update this page, and if we refresh our page here, you're going to see a new row below this one, and 3 images in equal-sized columns, 3 columns in that row. So I'm refreshing. As I scroll down, you can see the images have been added. Now, you will notice that in addition to module settings, rows and sections also have settings as well. And by the way, if you ever want to re-access the settings of a particular module, just click the settings icon here on the left, and that will relaunch the settings pop-up, and you can adjust all the settings for that module that you added to the page previously. And like I said, there's also settings for rows and sections. So if you click that settings icon on the row, you're going to get a bunch of row settings. And there's quite a few settings here to go through, but I'm not going to touch on these right now. And if you'd like to learn more about the various row settings and all of the section settings, we have 2 new tutorials that focus just on those. So I would suggest heading back to the documentation page when you're done with the basic intro here to learn more about some of these more advanced settings. In this case, I really don't need to modify the row settings, and to create basic layouts, you probably won't need to either. But I will touch on one common setting, which is the background color setting for sections. And what I'm going to do is actually add a whole new section below this current section. And then I'm going to add some, horizontal division between these 2 pieces of content by assigning a background color to my new section. That way the 2 pieces of content seem separate. This is kind of a nice way to create a fun flow to the page. And so to add a new section to the page, you're going to want to click the Add New Section button. And you'll notice that there actually are a couple different section types that you can add. And I'm going to get into those a little bit later. But for now, I'm just going to click the Add Standard Section button. And I'm going to choose how many rows I would like to add. 4 columns. And then like before, I'm going to want to add some modules into each of these columns. And so what I'm going to do is add a blurb module. And what a blurb module is just a small piece of text content along with a title and an icon. And these are pretty commonly found, at the top of websites on home pages. Just gives a nice little kind of intro to your services and what you offer. So I'm just going to give it a title here and call it blurb module. I'm going to assign an icon to it. So I'm going to give it an icon. I'm going to choose an icon color. And I'm going to choose a text color. So I'm going to make my text color light. And I'm going to make my text orientation centered. And I'm going to copy in some content to be placed below the title. And so I've added a new blurb. And any module, row, or section can be duplicated instantly by clicking the duplicate icon. So to speed things up a bit, since I know I want to add 4 blurbs, 1 to each column, I'm just going to duplicate this 3 times and move each blurb into its own column. Next up, I'm going to adjust the background color of that section. So I'm going to open up the section settings and look for the background color option here. And then I'm going to choose a custom background color and make it like a nice dark gray. Now, since I made my section background color dark gray and I made my blurb text light, it's going to show up quite nicely, and it's going to be very different from the section above it, which I showed you previously, which has a white background and dark text. So if we refresh our page and scroll down, you'll notice that this new section has been added along with the blurbs and their pink icons. And so you can see how section background colors can be very useful, and how organizing your content, organizing your rows into different sections can lead to a big diversity of layout combinations. So that's a basic kind of overview of modifying a Divi layout. But let's start from scratch, because I know you've just installed the Divi Builder, and you're probably wondering how to get started right away. And to do that, we're going to create a whole new page. So I'm going to go over to my dashboard, go over to Pages, and click Add New. And the first thing you're going to want to do to use the Divi Builder is enable it. And you'll see a big button here that says Use the Divi Builder. And what this is going to do is enable the Divi Builder and disable the standard post editor that you see here. So I click this, and as you can see, that layout that you were looking at earlier has been added, and the standard tiny MCE WordPress post editor has been removed. And you're greeted with a section and an empty empty row here. And the first thing you're going to want to do is add some columns. So just like before, we'll be constructing this new fresh page by adding some content, starting with a row. So in this case, I think this will be a Contact Us page. And so what I'm going to do is add a new 1/2 column. And on the left here, I'm going to add some text. Maybe just talking about our company and giving some, contact information, maybe a phone number, an address, so on. And then to the right of that, I'm going to add a contact form. So Divi has a contact form module. So I'm just going to scroll through and find that contact module and add it to the page. Here it is, contact form. And like all of our modules, there's various settings here. You're going to want to type in the email address where the email should be sent to. So I'm going to change it to nick@elegantthemes.com. You can give it a title, let's say Contact Us. And like before, you can give it an admin label. And also a CSS ID and CSS class if you want to customize this a bit in your child theme. So I'm going to save this to the page. I've added some text in a contact form. Let's just let's take a little peek at our layout so far. If we view the page, you'll see that we have 2 columns, 1 row with that text module on the contact form. So there we have it. Much like how we started originally with that 2-column row, that single row, I mean. And like I said, we have the text here and a contact form. Okay, so now that we're starting to build our own page, let me introduce you to something new, which is the full width section. So remember how I said before there's actually a couple different section types? Actually, there's 3. There's a standard section, which can house any row type and just about any module. And then there's full width sections, which unlike the standard section, these full width sections extend the entire width of the browser, and they have their own set of modules that can be added. So I'm going to add a full width section. And you can see it's a different color. It's purple, just to let you know this is a full width section, not a standard section. And much like a standard section, you can insert modules. Now you can't insert columns into a full width section because it's always extending the full width of the page, just 1 column. And so I'm going to click Insert Module and choose from the various modules available for full width sections. In this case, I'm going to add a full width slider. This is a very common thing to add at the top of your page. You'll probably be using sliders a lot on your home page. And so let me show you how to add a slider pretty quick here. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do when you open up the slider settings is add a new slide. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a new slide. I'm going to give it some title text. You can give it some buttons as well. So I might say, join today. You can give it a URL as well as a background image. So I'm going to upload a nice background image for this slide. You can choose a background color. In this case, I don't really need a background color since I have a background image. You can also upload a slide image to accompany your text. In this case, I'm just going to stick with text by itself. You can also upload a video. You can adjust your text color. In this case, I have a dark background color, so I'm just going to keep light text. And you can even upload background videos. But like I said, I have a background image, so I don't need to upload a background image and a background video. So I'm just going to stick with the image for now. And then you can add some content to the slide, just some text to be displayed along with your title. And I'm going to save, and so I've added a new slide to my sliders, you can see here. And I'm just going to duplicate this, and then edit my second slide. And I'm going to upload a new image for this one, a new background image. And save. And there we go. So I've added a new slider and added 2 slides. And like I said, this is a full width section, so it's going to extend the full width of the page. So if I go back to my page here and refresh, you'll see that a new full width slider has been added with my background image, the text, and the custom button text. And to access my second slide, I can slide over here to go there. And as I can see here, I probably want to make this text color dark since this is such a light background. So I could probably go back here, go back and edit my slide, change the text color to dark, save, refresh, and then we can take a look at that change. So like I said, at any time if you want to edit a module, it's pretty easy just to go back in those settings and make those adjustments. Alright, so that's a basic overview of building your new page with Divi. And if at any time you want to switch back to the standard post editor, you want to stop using the Divi Builder, that's fine. Just click the Use Default Editor up here, and that's going to remove your Builder content and switch back to the standard post editor. Of course, it's a little dangerous because you are going to have all your content removed, obviously. You're going to lose all that content. So it gives you a little warning here just to make sure you really want to switch back. And if you do, click yes, and it's going to wipe the slate clean. And you're going to have just whatever content you had here before you started. So next up, I'm going to show you something that will hopefully speed things up, speed up your design process quite a bit, and that's what's called the Divi library, and including pre-made layouts that ship with Divi. So this is a great starting point if you're just beginning with the theme. And if you want more information about the Divi library, be sure to check out the full tutorial on the Divi library, as well as various subsequent tutorials about different aspects of the Divi library, such as global modules, how to import and export your Divi library to different websites. We find that as people use the Divi library more and more and have this collection of web design elements that they use to build their websites and their clients' websites, it's nice to be able to take that toolkit with you wherever you go. And so what I'm going to do is start back with the Divi Builder. I'm going to click Use the Divi Builder, but this time instead of starting from scratch, I'm going to click the Load from Library button. And what this is going to do is load up my Divi library as well as the pre-made layouts that ship with Divi. And since I actually haven't saved anything to the Divi library, I don't have anything in my library. Actually, I have one that I've saved. But what you will see is all the predefined layouts that ship with Divi. So we have a bunch of different layouts that you can load instantly for just about every thing you need to do. There's About Us pages, contact pages. So instead of building that contact page I just built, I could have just loaded this right in and would have saved me a lot of time. So we have a lot of great layouts that we've designed that we think look good, that you're free to use to really jumpstart your new website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the home page layout here and load that in. And boom, you can see it just loads all these modules in a really great configuration that we've picked out just for you. And if we update that page and take a look, you're going to see that this layout has been totally pre-configured. It looks like a really modern homepage layout. You have the slider and those blurbs that we were using earlier. We have a nice call to action module. an image, some number counters, another slider, some more blurbs, more sliders, all the stuff you need for your modern homepage. So yeah, so that's how you use the Divi library to load layouts. And not only can you use the Divi library to load layouts, you can also save layouts to the Divi library. So let's say you've been configuring this page for a while and you want to use it again on your next website. Well, that's great. You can click Save to Library, give it a name, save it, and now it's been added to your library. Next time you want to use it, just click Load from Library, go over to the Add from Library tab, and that new layout I just saved is right here, and I can load it in. And you can also do that for all sections and rows and modules as well. So like I said, let's say I've configured this section. I like to use this combination, of elements. These 2 rows of blurbs. I like to use that on all my new home pages, and so I don't want to have to build it every single time I create a new home page. I just want to save this to library. So what I can do is say Save and Add to Library. Give it a name. Say Homepage Blurbs. Add it to a category. Save. And then next time you want to add a new section, you can click the Add from Library button, and you'll get a list of all your saved library items, in which case this homepage blurbs. I can just click that, and as you can see, they've been added. That's a really basic overview of the Divi library and how you can save elements for later use. And if you want to learn more about that, and there's a lot more to learn and a lot of cool stuff there, and so I really recommend you check out the Divi library tutorials. So we're just about to wrap up here, but there's one more thing I want to show you in the builder, and that is the use of specialty sections, which is the third section type that I alluded to earlier. And to add a specialty section, you just click the Add Specialty Section button down here. And what specialty sections are, and you get an idea from these column structures here, is that they're more advanced column structures, and they have what can typically be seen as a sidebar layout. And so they have these areas of horizontal division here on the right, these sidebars that extend the full height of the row next to more complex layouts. So for example, on the left here, here's a typical right sidebar with a variable column structures to the left of it. So I might add that. And as you can see, this is a different color to show that it's a specialty section. And on the right here, I could add a sidebar. For example, there's a sidebar module that you can use with Divi, so I might add a sidebar on the right. And on the left here, I can insert a bunch of different column types. So I can start constructing a whole different kind of layout here to the left of my sidebar. And so that's just a basic overview of specialty sections. And if you want to learn more about all the different section types and section options, again, we have a whole tutorial for that, so go ahead and take a look at the section tutorial back in the Divi documentation. So that's a pretty good overview of the Divi Builder. And as far as the Divi theme as a whole is concerned, there's only one more thing I want to touch on in this brief overview, and that is the Divi Theme Customizer. And the Divi Theme Customizer is an incredibly powerful and useful tool because it allows you to easily customize just about every design aspect of your site with just a few clicks of the mouse. So if you launch the Theme Customizer here, hover over the Divi link on the left and click the Theme Customizer link, you're going to be brought to the WordPress Theme Customizer. On the right, you're going to be given a preview of your website, and on the left, you're going to be shown a bunch of different design controls that you can apply to your site and view the changes in real time. And so we have a bunch of tutorials again about this, but I'm just going to give you a little basic taste of what's available here. For example, if I wanted to change the typography of my site, I could go over to the general settings and typography and start adjusting my body text size, for example. Maybe adjust the spacing between each line, adjust the header sizes, the letter spacing in the header. I might apply some unique font styles to my headers. I change the fonts completely. I might do some more drastic things like enable boxed layout and adjust maybe the gutter widths between my modules. As you can see, the spacing between columns. I can adjust the height of sections, the height of rows. There's really no end to what you can do here. Moving into the header navigation, you can adjust your menu bar, the colors in your menu, adjust the font sizes, adjust your logo height, as you can see. adjust the background colors. If I want to make my background color like a dark blue, and maybe make my link colors white. It really just takes a few clicks, and you're getting a completely different design. And so yeah, I'd recommend you explore the theme customizer and see what you can do here, and check out those tutorials. And that just about wraps up the basic overview and introduction of Divi. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'm sure you're going to absolutely love using Divi. And if you have any questions, be sure to visit us in the support forums, and also go ahead and go to the main documentation page, and that's elegantthemes.com/gallery/divi/documentation. And we have just dozens and hours of tutorials there that touch on every aspect of Divi. So if there's anything you want to know, I can almost guarantee you it's in the documentation.